computer. Okay. Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Namaskar. This is Vaidya Meenakshi Gupta. I'm a board of director of Council for Ayurveda Research and a chair for Journal Club. So today we have Vaidya Rajesh Kanwar, who will be presenting relationship among classification of Ayurvedic medicines, diagnostic for imbalances, and Western measure for physiological states. And a little bit about Vaidya Rajesh. She is BMS, gold medalist, Masters in Ayurveda, certified yoga instructor. She's an Ayurveda expert, classically trained Vaidya, and she post-graduated from National Institute of Ayurveda, Jaipur, India. In Ayurveda Dhanvantri MS, Prasuti Istri Rog, which is in Ayurveda, it is a OBGYN. She's a gold medalist in BMS from Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, Rajasthan Ayurveda University, Jodhpur. And she is also certified yoga instructor from USA. So as an Ayurveda practitioner and yoga instructor, she's helping people with the lifestyle disorders and various health conditions voluntarily. And she's a firm believer in health preservation by following the best practice of Ayurveda and yoga. And she also runs her YouTube channel, and the channel is Ayurveda Free Health Insurance for spreading the awareness of authentic Ayurveda. So let me welcome Vaidya Rajesh. You can please join and start your presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Meenakshi Di. Okay. So can I start?
Yes, please go ahead. You can put it in the slide mode if you want, Rajesh.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's in slide mode.
It's on the top bar. If you
Yes.
see on the top bar. Yeah, just click on the slideshow. No, not here. Go. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. And it will ask from beginning. Now click on from beginning.
Okay. Yeah. I'm Rajesh Kanwar, MS Prasuti Istri Rog, certified yoga instructor, and Meenakshi Didi introduced me very well. I would like to welcome everyone here, and special thanks to Meenakshi Didi who introduced me to this platform. So I want to declare here that this presentation is for academic purpose to understand methods for critically appraising a scientific manuscript. It by no means intends to harm or criticize the investigators or any other personnel connected to the manuscripts or clinical study. The views expressed herewith are with sole purpose to be academic, and it declares no conflicts of interest. So today's study title is Relationships Among Classifications of Ayurvedic Medicine Diagnostic for Imbalances. And
Dr. Rajesh, do you want to stop sharing and then reshare again? Because I'm not seeing it in the slide form, I mean the, slideshow format.
Okay, I will do it.
Thank you.
How about now?
So, Meenakshi, are you seeing it in the slideshow format? I'm not.
No. Rajesh, click on the slideshow. Okay, now go from further. It's saying from beginning. Click on that.
In the very first one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now it's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So today's study's title is Relationships Among Classifications of Ayurvedic Medicine Diagnostic for Imbalances and Western Measures of Psychological States, an Exploratory Study. So authors here, Paul G. Mills, Christine Tara Peterson, Kathleen L. Wilson, Meredith A. Pang, Sheila Patel, Elizabeth Bass, Suhas G. Shirsagar, Rudolph E. Tanji, and Deepak Chopra. And Paul J. Mills is authorized here. Source, a Journal of Ayurveda and Integrative Medicine, and published in 2009. So I found this study is very interesting, as many studies had done on Prakriti or basic constitution balance of dosha, but very less studies done on Vikriti or imbalance of doshas, or studies on this topic are currently very lacking. As we all know, Ayurveda's treatment is very specific and individualized, means there is no certain prescription for a certain disease. And in present time, everyone talks about P4 medicine. And 4 Ps are here: predictive, preventive, personalized, and participatory. So by going this study, somehow I feel like this study acknowledges that even 5,000 years ago, Ayurveda already had done work on these P4 medicines, or another word we can say, Ayurveda's basic treatmental principle are these P4 medicines. In Ashtang Shangra, Acharya Vagbhat says, Rogastu dos Vaishamyam, dos Samyam Arogta. And in another verse, Acharya Charak says, Vikaro Dhatu Vaishamyam, Samyam Prakriti Uchyate. Means Acharya Charak itself use the imbalance of doshas as a Vikriti, Vikar, or disease, and the balanced state of dosha used as Prakriti or health. So in today's journal club meeting, we cover all these topics: overview of the study, critical appraisal of the study and the manuscript under headings of introduction, material and methods, results, discussion, conclusion, references, and supplementary data which are used by the authors. So overview about the study site: Department of Family Medicine and Public Health, University of California, San Diego, La Jolla, California, USA, and the Chopra Center for Wellbeing, Carlsbad, California, USA. So here authors are from different disciplines. So in my opinion, both background Ayurveda as well as modern science are very well used in this study. Then introduction. So it's also interesting to know how authors make the background for this study. So they started like different taxonomic systems, like from modern, if we take Hippocrates, Chinese traditional medicines, Ayurveda. So they all talk about like they want to categorize the individuals according to constitutional phenotype. Their base is the natural elements, and they different a little bit to each other, but very parallel. And in Ayurveda, the constitutional phenotype or psychobiological tendencies is called Prakriti. And Ayurvedic theories, they view like psychobiological tendencies of each Prakriti possess innate vulnerabilities to stress and illness. And to make this point more stability, so here authors provide references of the past studies which support this Ayurvedic theory. So for example, Manyam and Kumar, he demonstrated like greater incidence of idiopathic Parkinson's disease in individuals with Vata constitution as compared to Pitta and Kapha constitution, and he provide other references also. And all these different taxonomic systems understood, like when the psychobiological tendencies of the basic constitution are out of balance, illness can ensue. And the imbalance itself is called Vikruti in Ayurveda. So Vikruti, or you can say current imbalance of doshas or symptomatology assessment, is the most relevant for a diagnosis to inform personalized treatment, which is the Ayurveda's specific treatmental principle. So to consideration of all these in mind, this study examined relationships among imbalances in the doshas reported via questionnaire and Western measures of psychological states. Authors hypothesize that Western diagnosis and descriptors of psychological status correlates to specific imbalances in the doshas. For psychological states, used standardized panel of questionnaire to examine anxiety, negative mood, rumination and reflection, mindfulness, stress, and overall quality of life. Then we come to the methodology under these points. So first one is study participants and design. So this study represents a secondary analysis of SBTI, Self-Directed Biological Transformation Initiative, which was a multi-dimensional Ayurvedic medicine well-being intervention study, and that has been reported somewhere else. And here, author provide the references, these SBTI studies, two references. So one is done by himself, Paul J. Mills, and it was a quasi-randomized trial. And it was a mind-body program on well-being. And as an Ayurveda intervention, they used Ayurvedic diet, herbs, yoga, meditation, daily routine. And another SBTI study is done by Peterson. And in this study, as Ayurveda intervention, Panchkarma therapy is used. And participants in this study were recruited from the University of California, San Diego, La Jolla, California, and the Chopra Center for Wellbeing in Carlsbad, California. Inclusion criteria for the participants, they all were English speaking, 30 to 80 years age, and no current major medical or mental illnesses, and participants willing to refrain from drinking more than one alcoholic beverage per day during the week-long study. For exclusion criteria, they find the participants who previously participated in a yoga or meditation retreat of any kind within the past 2 months, and the persons who are taking illicit drugs. So they were excluded from the study. Then come to the assessments. So all the participants are completed the following questionnaire for the Vikruti assessment and the other for the psychological states. So first one is here, the Vikruti questionnaire. And this is a 60 item questionnaire was developed by a team of physicians at the Chopra Center for Wellbeing, trained in Ayurvedic medicine and has been used clinically for the past 15 years. So if it allow me, I'll share you this Prakriti questionnaire. Are you able to see it? The Prakriti questionnaire?
No, Rajesh.
You have to share again your screen.
I think this is in PDF form, so
Yeah, you can show. Dr. Rajesh, please download the PDF and click share and hover on the PDF.
Actually, I already downloaded it.
Okay. Now go to share screen.
Okay.
And you should see it in your options. Yeah.
Hope now you can see.
Yes.
Okay. So this questionnaire they use here. So first they take a brief Prakriti Parikshan, and they take only 10 threads here. And then they go for 20 questions for each subdosa, 24 Vata and 24 Pitta and Kapha. So 10 Vata mind questions and 10 Vata body questions, and same way for Pitta and Kapha subdosha. And to bring the symptomatology, they asked patients to rate as not at all, somewhat, or occasionally, or very often, and respectively they marked 1, 3, and 5. So this is the questionnaire they used. Same here, the questions. Now I come back to the Prakriti. Okay.
Rajesh, yeah, you have to reshare the screen.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Just give me a second. Yeah. Okay. Then for the Western measures for psychological states, For anxiety, they use PROMIS anxiety scale, which is a patient-reported outcome measurement system. And in this scale, they have 8 questions. Then for depression, they use CEST, Center for Epidemiology Studies. And here it's 20 items self-reported too. And depressive symptoms, these are developed by the National Institute of Mental Health. And all the reflecting major facets of depression, like depressed mood, feeling of guilt and worthlessness, feeling of helplessness and hopelessness, psychomotor retardation, loss of appetite, and sleep depression. Then for stress, they use PSS, which is Perceived Stress Scale, and it's a 10-item scale which assesses the degree to which situations in one's life are appraised as stressful. Then for mindfulness, used MAS, which is Mindful Attention Awareness Scale, and this is a 15-item scale. Then RRQ, Rumination and Reflection Questionnaire, and it is a 25-item scale that assesses both rumination and reflection. Rumination defined as self-attentiveness motivated by perceived threats, losses, or injustices to the self. And reflection defined as self-attentiveness motivated by curiosity or epistemic interest in the self. Then finally, they used for well-being or quality of life, REEF scale of well-being. It is an 84-item questionnaire to assess psychological well-being. It is developed by psychologist Carol D. Reef, and it measures 6 aspects of well-being and happiness, which are autonomy, environmental mastery, personal growth, positive relations with others, purpose in life, and self-acceptance. Then it's not going further. Then came to the data analysis. So SPSS, Dimension Reduction Factor Analysis Program. It is a
Can you share the screen again?
It is not shared.
Oops. Okay. So next is
Not shared yet.
not shared yet.
Mhm.
What is going on? I see that.
Did
Now?
you stop share and start share?
I did.
Have you shared the PPT with Dr. Meenakshi?
Yes, I did.
Then, Dr. Meenakshi, you want to share your screen?
I'm gonna share it. Wait.
Yeah, let's do that because it looks like it goes off screen frequently.
Do you remember the which slide we are on?
Yes,
Rajesh?
it is. I think
Assessment, scales of assessment.
yeah, data analysis. It's 11th, I believe.
11th, okay. 11th, yeah. Slideshow from current slide. Here you go.
Oh.
Everybody can
Yes.
see?
Okay. This one I did, done the. Yep. So data analysis. So SPSS Dimension Reduction Factor Analysis Program, which is a statistical tool, and it is used for the Vikriti questionnaire score to reduce in a single factor score. And for this statistical tool, they bring the IGN value, which is more than 1. Another statistical tool which is used here is MGL model, multivariate general linear models, and it is suitable for simultaneous assessment of multiple dependent variables within the same design matrix. So in this study, they make separate 3 MGL models. So the fixed factors were the respective Vikruti mind-body factor with the 2 other Vikruti factors serving as covariatives. So for example, in one model, Vata Vikruti was the fixed factor and Pitta Vikruti and Kapha Vikruti served as covariates. Next, please, Dee. Then come to the results. So participants' characteristics here, and it is done by SPSS2, and total 101 participants completed the study. And here with this tool, they found the mean and standard deviation of age, BMI, gender, Vikruti scores, the eigenvalue for the Vikruti factor, and the Western measures of psychological factors, anxiety, mood, stress, mindfulness, rumination, reflection, and well-being. Next, please, Deep. And this is the predictors of Vikruti imbalance. And for this result, they use the MGL model. So with MGL model, they found Vata Vikruti, the overall model was significant. And significant dependent variable associations were more anxiety, less mindfulness, more rumination, and less quality of life. And for Pitta Vikruti factor also, they found it significant, and significant variable variants associations were less mindfulness, poorer mood, and more stress. For Kapha Vikruti, the overall model was also found significant. Significant dependent variables were more stress, more rumination, and less reflection. Next thing. So discussion. So as Vikruti is descriptive of current state of imbalance, and it has more implication for personalized treatment options, whereas the Prakriti has more predictive implications. And in the current exploratory analysis, it is observed like greater anxiety and rumination with lower quality of life and lower levels of mindfulness in subjects which reported Vata type symptoms, or they found the Vata score more. Poorer mood and less mindfulness in the individuals with Pitta imbalance, and they are related inherently. The participants had higher androgen levels in these subjects, and during the state of Vikruti, it is increased. And in Kapha dominant types, slower metabolism found, and it induces metabolic stress, and that is later perceived as stressful by the individuals and could manifest later as an imbalance. Next, please. And limitations of the study, which was told by authors itself. Vikruti was assessed by questionnaire and not by other traditional methods, such as pulse methods of diagnosis, and studied individuals who were relatively healthy and had no overt disease. And here, authors just leave us with a question like, how do Ayurvedic physicians approach treating Vikruti imbalances? And he proposed the idea like disharmony among the doshas are managed by dietary and lifestyle interventions, including herbs, proper diet, massage, daily routine, meditation, yoga, and detoxification. And to support this, he provides some past study references. So for example, ashwagandha or Vidhenia somnifera is used to treat stress or anxiety. So here I want to add from my side, like when he talk about Vikruti investigation or Vikruti parikshan, or we can say pathological investigation, we need to include in Charak Viman art, Acharya Charak says, Tatra Vikaram Hetu, Dos Dushya Prakriti Desh Kal Bal Visheshe Lingatascha Parikshit. Because when we investigate the Vikruti or imbalances of dosha, we need to go all these factors, which are cause, dosha, dushya, prakriti, the reason or time, bal or strength of the individual. So this way, disease nature, we can decide easily, and we will able to prescribe the individualized treatment. So this, I need to say, only one factor is not enough for the investigation of the Vikriti or imbalance of dosha. We need to cover these. Another thing I want to add here, although authors start this questionnaire with the Prakriti Parikshan or basic constitution of the individual. But here he is talking about the psychological states. But when we go through the Prakriti Parikshan, he took only 10 traits, and in 10 traits there are only 2 related to the mental state. So I think we need to add more mental or emotional traits or characteristic, like what is energy level, mental attitude, memory status, way of learning, emotional attitude, creativity, what are the hobbies. So we need to include them also. One more thing, why I say so, because when we talk about Vikriti is just the imbalance of just the, what is the Prakriti, just the little deviation, if we can say Vikriti. So when we talk about Vikriti, we need to know Prakriti very, very well. And I just want to give an example. So for example, if there is a Pitta dominant person and he has Vata Vikriti, we found the Vata Vikriti factor too much, and we can say he has Vata Vikriti. But then we give him Vata pacifying hot herbs. That is not good for him, because they will pacify the Vata, but they will vitiate the Pitta in Pitta dominant person. And as Ayurveda, this will not be the Shuddha Chikitsa or the pure treatment for the individual. So instead of it, we use Vata pacifying herb, which is unctuous and heavy in quality. So these can pacify Vata without aggravating Pitta. So this way, I think we need to go for more Prakriti Parikshan also, so we can prescribe the personalized treatment easily. Next slide, please. As a conclusion, these findings provide further insight into traditional Ayurvedic diagnostic methods for assessing imbalances in mental well-being, and they found mapped with several Western measures of psychological states. And here I believe when they talk about mental well-being, so the Sattva Pariksha, which is described in Charak Viman, if we include here, it will really helpful for the investigation of mental state of a person. And understanding the current Vikriti in an individual informs treatment to systematically restore the balanced state of Prakriti. And understanding associations between Ayurvedic Vikriti diagnosis and genetic or biochemical makers is of interest to integrative health researchers, where applicable facilitates further understanding and potential integration of Ayurveda with modern scientific and clinical investigations. So they establish their point very, very well, I think. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is the presentation. So I'm very, very thankful to Council of Ayurveda Research for giving me this opportunity to present here. So now I welcome all of you. So participate and discuss about this study. Thank you.
Anybody?
Yes, very well presented. And the shortcomings that you mentioned, I find it very interesting, because whenever to assess the or any research or study is done, we always, like in the past, always the parameters from biomedicine are taken, and they never do justice to Ayurvedic wisdom. Like here also, many parameters like emotion, creativity, and memory, attitude, and there are many parameters that you read in the shloka are left. So that we can say is the shortcoming of a study or the research methodology itself. We need to focus on that area that we have been discussing for past couple of years, that Ayurveda research needs a paradigm shift. Whatever parameters we are choosing, that itself is not justifying the research itself. So you pointed out some points, and interesting. I guess that other would like to add.
What was the time span of the study, Dr. Rajesh?
Pratibha, I don't know exactly. They just giving the published time. They didn't say when they start, when they finish. They didn't mention anything.
So I just skimmed through the study. So first of all, very well presented and very nice, interesting choice of paper. Thank you. I think that was one thing I noticed, even though I have not really gone through in detail, I must say that. But it is an exploratory study. So first of all, that itself gives them some room to just explore and not have like a very targeted goal for the study.
Mhm.
I think a couple things. What I thought was, one is you highlighted that the mental characteristics were probably not, included as they should have been. That's one. And the number of standard scales that have been used for various aspects, rumination and stress and this and that. I just had a feeling that it was a little bit of like, let's include everything type of thing, because I think in totality that would make at least 500 questions, I feel.
Yeah, too much, Didi, and all the participants need to fill them up.
Exactly. So it's like, when we start cooking, we don't put like sab masale, we don't put all spices. So that I felt little bit that it was like, enough thought process had not gone in selecting 1, 2, max 3, scales. I
Mhm.
feel like they just picked up so many, because I was just doing a mental calculation when you were mentioning 80 and then 60 and this and that, like easily 500, I feel, number of questions. So that's very exhaustive. That's why I was asking how long did the study last, because I feel there can be attrition just because of that also, because yeah. And was there any incentive provided for the study? That's something again, that's helpful to know, like monetary or
Nope. They
no.
just give the
Did you
references,
mention?
like all the parameters they took, they provide all the references for these studies. So I open this study, read about them. So they try to shorten out the questions, but mostly they have like 84 items. In some they have 8 questions, 25 questions, nothing.
No, I meant for the participants of the study.
No,
Uh,
nothing
any monetary incentivization was given or anything?
no, they didn't
It was,
provide in a study. I don't know.
they have not mentioned, I think,
Yes.
whether how they, because there are many studies where they will give some gift card,
Oh,
something. So that part is also not clear. So I'm just curious about that part, that how many stayed till the end. They have not mentioned, they have not commented on that. They have left it open-ended.
mhm.
Their subjects were from California College, this one college, and their Chopra Center itself. From 2 places they have selected the subjects. College, you might tell accurately what the college was. I don't remember. So their subjects come from 2 places
2
only.
places, yes.
So it could be they have something for them.
The students are,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think the biggest takeaway from the study is that yes, Ayurveda principles can be used for predictive analysis. That is the important part, because ultimately for success we always, or for authentic treatment, we always end up doing personalization. So it will never be that, if you're seeing a Vata trend in the clients, then you will give this standard treatment. That's not going to happen, because we will have to take into account their particular vikritis and other dosha, combinations, etc. So I feel the takeaway from the study itself is it kind of corroborates the predictive strength that the Ayurvedic principles bring.
Yeah, true.
Have you seen the paper? I have read some time back that Mysore Tridosha scale, some people not from the Ayurvedic field have done an assessment of Ayurvedic doshas and have published a paper about the psychological traits as described in
I have
Ayurvedic
come
text.
across one. Yeah, I have.
You have read that. I am just remembering that now, not accurately.
Yeah.
If why in your research for presenting this paper, if you have come across that, Rajesh,
No, Didi, I didn't.
they have selected some traits and presented it into a paper
You know?
as Mysore Tridosha scale.
Okay, I'll check it.
Hmm. You should, Meenakshi, if you have it, then you share it in WhatsApp.
Yeah, I have it. I'll share the link. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know. Because see, this work is happening in different parts of the world and it has to be brought together. So if there is something like this, we would love to list it in our resource tab also in online. Yeah.
Even the Prakriti Parikshan, I think every study they do in different way. So here, how they divided, they said like Vata, Pitta, Kapha, total should be 9. Even though your Prakriti fit in Vata, you need to number to Pitta and Kapha also.
Hmm.
Like if you fit in Kapha, you give 5, then 3 and 1. You have to give all the numbers.
Yeah.
Normally, like in our college, we do just like if I fit in Pitta, I will give 1. Then like this, they do in a different way, and they just told us they do this way, but they didn't like show anything how they count Vikruti factor.
Yeah. And what if somebody had combination body type? That part is not taken care of.
That part is not taken, and even 7 body types we have, right? It is not only a Vata, Pitta, Kapha. So
Exactly. Hmm. So
And
it
for
seems very preliminary that way.
yes, and in Ayurveda for psychological assessment, if we ignore the Sattva, Raja, and Tama, that
exactly.
also does not justifies because Ayurveda have that focus for mental assessment
So
of
when
an individual. We have to focus on that also whenever we are doing the mental assessment. We cannot just do by Vata, Pitta, Kapha.
Hmm.
That is not the criteria of assessment altogether. So
Yeah.
that is also a shortcoming they should at least mention. But like Pratva Didi mentioned and Rajesh also mentioned, it is just an exploratory study.
Hmm.
So there is a scope for everything.
Yes. And it's been done in the West, so at least it's a good step that outside of India, something like this was even
Yes,
thought of.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
But it's been done by a commercial center, so to say, little bit. So
That is
all
also there.
kinds of, yeah, conflict of interest could be there. Dr. Anjum, are you there? Do you want to say something?
Yes, Dr. Pratibha. Hi, everyone.
Come on video.
I am sitting not in good. You all look so pretty.
Oh, you are always
You are
looking
always
pretty.
pretty. You are always pretty. I'll stop the recording.